Hey everyone, welcome back to Easy Speak World with Maya and Ethan, your favorite place where you learn real English through real conversations. Okay, so I need to ask you something, and I want you to be completely honest with me. Have you ever been in a meeting at work and you had something to say, like a genuinely good idea, but you just stayed quiet? You sat there, you nodded, you maybe smiled a little, but the words never came out.
Yeah.
Because that happens to me more than I would like to admit. And I think it's not just a confidence thing, it's a language thing. It's an I don't know how to say this in English at work thing, and that is a completely different problem.
You're right, Maya. It really is different because even if you know what you want to say in your own language, the moment you have to translate that into professional English in a real-time conversation with your boss sitting across from you, it's a whole different level of pressure.
Exactly. And as always, I've got Ethan here with me, and today we are talking about English at work, workplace English, office conversations, meetings, feedback, emails, all of it.
Yeah, Maya, and I think this is one of the most practical topics we've ever done because it's not just about learning vocabulary. It's about the situations, the awkward moments, the how do I even respond to that moments.
Oh, yes, we are going there. And if you are watching this right now and you have ever felt nervous speaking English at work, or you've ever typed and deleted an email 5 times before sending, this episode is for you.
Completely for you.
Before we go further, if this is your first time here, welcome to Easy Speak World. Hit that subscribe button because every single week we drop new conversations that help you speak English naturally. And if you're a returning listener, we love you, seriously.
And hey, we want to hear from you today. Drop a comment below. What's your biggest challenge when speaking English at work? Is it meetings, emails, talking to your boss, saying no politely? Let us know. We read everything.
Okay, so let's start with the thing that terrifies most people, meetings.
Ah, yes.
Ethan, I feel like meetings are their own universe. Like there are rules in meetings that nobody ever teaches you.
That's exactly right. And one of the first things people struggle with is just how to jump in, how to enter the conversation. Because sometimes the meeting is moving fast. People are talking over each other, and you want to say something, but you don't know how to get in without sounding rude or awkward.
Yes, and if you just say, "Excuse me," that sounds a bit aggressive, right?
Yeah, a little forceful.
So what do you say instead?
Okay, so there's some really smooth phrases for this. One of the most natural ones is, "Can I jump in here?" That's casual, friendly. It signals that you want to speak without interrupting aggressively. Or you can say, "Sorry to interrupt, but," which is polite and shows awareness.
Oh, I love "Can I jump in here?" It sounds so natural, like you're part of the conversation, not fighting for space.
Exactly. Another one is, "I just want to add something to that." That's great because you're building on what someone else said. You're not rejecting their point, you're contributing.
That is smart, and it makes you sound collaborative, which is a great word for work, by the way. Collaborative, it means you work well with others, you contribute to the group. Very positive word.
Very positive. Employers love that word.
Okay, but here's the situation I want to talk about, because this happened to a friend of mine, not me, a friend.
Sure, a friend.
Stop it. Okay, fine. It was me. It was me in my first English-speaking job. So I'm in a meeting. My manager asks for feedback on a project, and I have feedback, real, honest feedback, but I don't know how to say it in English without sounding rude or like I'm complaining.
Oh, that's such a real situation.
So I just said nothing, and afterwards my manager pulled me aside and asked, "Do you have any thoughts?" And I said, "No, everything is great." And it was not great.
Yeah, I've been there too. And I think this is where the language of diplomatic feedback is so important. Because in English, especially in professional settings, there's kind of an art to giving honest feedback without sounding harsh.
Tell me more about that, because I feel like this is something nobody teaches you.
Right. So one of the most useful structures is called the sandwich method. You've heard of this?
Is this where you put the bad news in the middle?
Exactly. You start with something positive, then give the critical feedback, then end with something constructive or encouraging. So instead of saying, "This plan doesn't work," which is blunt and not great,
Ouch.
you might say, "I think there's a lot of good thinking here." One thing I'm wondering about is whether the timeline is realistic. Do you think we could build in a little more flexibility? I think with a small adjustment, it could be really strong.
Okay, that is so much better. And it's honest. You're still saying the same thing. The timeline is a problem, but it sounds thoughtful.
And you're inviting a conversation. You're not shutting anything down.
I love that. And the phrase "I'm wondering about," that is such a useful phrase. It's soft, but it's not weak.
Right. I'm wondering about, or I'm a little concerned about. These signal that you have a question or a problem, but you're bringing it up in a collaborative way.
Okay, we need to slow down a little because I want to make sure everyone caught those phrases. And also stay with us because later we're going to talk about emails, and the phrases we have for that are honestly some of my favorites.
Yeah, they're good.
But first, vocabulary moment. We've been throwing around some good words. Let's lock in a couple. Diplomatic, diplomatic. When you're diplomatic, you're careful about how you communicate. You're aware of people's feelings. You choose your words to avoid causing offense.
And in a work context, being diplomatic is not the same as being dishonest. You can be diplomatic and direct. The goal is just to deliver your message in a way that people can actually hear.
Yes, exactly. Another word, feedback. Feedback. Feedback means information or reactions about something, used to improve it. You can give feedback, receive feedback, ask for feedback.
And there's a difference between constructive feedback, which is helpful, solution-focused, and destructive feedback, which just tears something down without offering a way forward.
Constructive, destructive. Important distinction.
Very.
Okay, so let's move into a different scenario. What about talking to your boss? Because I feel like this has a whole different energy.
Yeah, the power dynamic changes things.
Right? Like you're not just talking to a colleague. There's this layer of, I don't know, awareness. You're more careful. You think more before you speak.
And that's not a bad thing, actually. Being thoughtful is good. But the problem is when that carefulness turns into silence, when you stop communicating important things because you're afraid of how it'll sound.
Okay, so let's do this. Let's actually role play a scenario. I'll be the employee, you be the boss.
Oh, I like this. Okay.
So the situation is I have too much work. My boss has given me 3 projects with the same deadline, and I genuinely cannot do all 3. How do I bring this up?
Okay, I'm the boss. So, Maya, I wanted to check in. How are those 3 projects coming along?
Right. Okay, so thinking. So a bad answer would be, I can't do this. It's too much. This isn't fair.
Hard no on that one.
A better answer, let me try. Thanks for checking in. I actually wanted to talk to you about the timeline. I'm working on all 3 projects, and I want to make sure I can deliver high-quality work on each one. I'm wondering if we could prioritize which one is most urgent so I can manage my time effectively.
That's direct. Slightly tense, but professional.
And if you want something a little softer, because maybe you don't want to accuse anyone, you could say, I just want to make sure we're giving credit in the right places. I know I worked on that piece, and I want to make sure the team knows.
That's good because it's less about blame and more about clarity.
Exactly. And give credit, that's such an important phrase. To give credit means to acknowledge someone's contribution. I want to give credit where credit is due. That means I want to make sure the right person gets recognized.
And the opposite, taking credit for something you didn't do, that's considered a serious issue in most workplaces.
Very serious. Okay, different kind of conflict. What if your boss gives you feedback that you disagree with? That's tricky.
Super tricky because you can't just say, I disagree. Well, you could, but you need to be careful about how.
Right. What are some phrases?
So one approach is to ask questions rather than make statements, instead of, I think you're wrong, which obviously don't say.
Please don't say that.
You could say, that's interesting. I was actually thinking about it differently. Can I share my perspective? And then share your view. You're not attacking the feedback, you're opening a dialogue.
I love "can I share my perspective." It's such a respectful way to disagree. You're asking for permission to give your point of view. That's mature.
Another one, I see where you're coming from, and I'd like to offer a slightly different angle. You're validating their point first, then offering yours.
I see where you're coming from. That is one of the most useful phrases in the English language, honestly. It means I understand your thinking. I hear you, even if I don't agree.
It de-escalates things so fast.
It does. It's like a little magic phrase.
The conflict diffuser.
Okay, let's take a small breather and do another vocabulary round because we've been throwing around some good stuff. Let's lock in a few more.
Go for it.
Perspective. Perspective. Your perspective is your point of view, the way you see something. From my perspective is a great way to start sharing your opinion without sounding like you're claiming absolute truth.
And it invites other perspectives too. It signals that you're open to other views.
Yes. Next word, acknowledge. ACKNOWLEDGE. To acknowledge means to recognize or admit something. I acknowledge that this is complex, or I want to acknowledge your effort on this project. It's a word that shows awareness and respect.
Very professional word, very useful.
And one more, proactive. PROACTIVE. This is a big one in the workplace. Being proactive means doing things before you're asked, anticipating problems before they happen, taking initiative.
Employers love proactive employees. She's very proactive is a huge compliment.
Massive compliment. Okay, so now I want to move to emails because I know a lot of our listeners are writing work emails in English, and it can feel so formal and strange.
Yeah, there's a whole tone shift when you move from speaking to writing.
And the thing is, email English has its own rules. It's not quite formal written English, and it's not casual conversation English. It's somewhere in between.
Right, and the register is the level of formality, has to match the relationship and the context.
Okay, so let's start with the basics. How do you open an email in English?
So the most common options are hi name, which is friendly and professional, works in most workplace contexts, dear name, which is more formal, good for first contact or more serious communication, and then there's hello name, which sits somewhere between the two.
And what should you not open with?
Avoid dear sir or madam unless you genuinely don't know the person's name and it's a very formal context. And definitely avoid starting with I hope this email finds you well.
Oh, people say this so much.
So much, and it's become a bit of a joke in professional circles, honestly. It's not wrong, but it's so overused that it sounds hollow.
What do you say instead?
You can just get straight to the point. I'm writing to follow up on, or I wanted to check in about, or quick question about topic. These are direct and efficient, which people appreciate.
I love quick question at the start of an email. It's friendly and it signals immediately that you're not going to take up too much of their time.
And then for signing off, best regards is safe and professional. Best alone is also very common, shorter, slightly warmer. Thanks or many thanks works well when you're making a request, and kind regards is a notch more formal.
What about cheers?
Cheers is quite British and casual. It works if you know the person well and the culture is informal. Not recommended for first emails or formal situations.
Good to know. Now, let's talk about the body of the email because sometimes I get emails that are just walls of text, and I have no idea what the person is actually asking.
Yes, the golden rule of professional email writing is be clear, be concise, and make the action obvious. What do you need? When do you need it? Why are you emailing?
And there are specific phrases for making requests in emails. What are some good ones?
So for polite requests, could you please, very common and professional, would you be able to, slightly softer, sounds more considerate, I'd appreciate it if you could, warm and clear. And if it's urgent, as soon as possible, or ASAP for short, but use ASAP carefully, it can sound demanding if overused.
And what if you're following up because someone hasn't replied?
Oh, the follow-up email, a delicate art. So you want to be persistent without being annoying. A good approach is just following up on my previous email. I wanted to check if you had a chance to look at this.
That is so polite. I wanted to check if you had a chance. That's not pressuring, it's gentle.
And another one, I understand you may be busy. Please let me know if you need more time. That one is great because you're being considerate while still keeping the conversation open.
I want to write that down, honestly.
Good for your email drafts.
Okay, we are going to shift one more time and talk about something I feel like nobody talks about in English learning, small talk at work, because small talk is its own skill.
And it matters more than people think. Oh, it really does. In a lot of English-speaking workplaces, small talk is actually a kind of social glue. It builds relationships. It makes people feel comfortable around you. And if you're always silent in the elevator or at lunch, people might think you're unfriendly, even if you're just nervous about your English.
Exactly. And small talk is scary because it feels random. There's no script. You don't know what's coming.
Right, but actually, small talk has patterns, and once you know the patterns, it gets so much easier.
Okay, what are the most common small talk topics in English workplaces?
The classics, the weather, always safe. The weekend, did you have a good weekend, is probably the most common Monday morning question in any English-speaking office. Current events, but stay away from politics and religion unless you know the person well. Sports, especially if you know they're into it, and work itself, but lightly, not complaining, just connecting.
And how do you respond to these questions? Because sometimes people say, I had a good weekend, and then there's silence. Awkward.
The key is to respond and then bounce the question back. So someone says, did you do anything fun this weekend? And instead of just saying, yes, I went hiking and stopping, you say, yeah, I went hiking actually. It was really nice to get outside. What about you? Did you get up to anything?
Get up to anything, that's a great British international phrase. It means, did you do anything interesting? Very casual, very natural.
And when you bounce the question back, you show interest. That's the whole game of small talk, making the other person feel heard and interesting.
That is genuinely good life advice, not just English advice.
True.
What about when you want to end a small talk conversation? Because sometimes you need to actually go do your work.
Right. You can't just stand there indefinitely. Good exit phrases? Anyway, I should let you get back to it. That's a great one. You're letting them off the hook, not yourself. Very polite. Or, it was great catching up. Let's chat more later. Or just, right, I'd better get back to my desk. Talk soon.
I should let you get back to it is so clever because you're being considerate, not escaping. I love that.
And catch up. To catch up means to have a conversation with someone after some time has passed. We need to catch up means we should talk and share what's been happening in our lives.
So useful. Okay, I want to do one more scenario before we wrap up because I think this one is really important. What about when you make a mistake at work in English?
Oh, the mistake conversation. Yeah, this one matters.
Because how you handle a mistake professionally says so much about your character. And in English, there are good ways and bad ways to apologize or address it.
Right. The worst thing you can do, ironically, is be overly apologetic. Because if you spend 5 minutes apologizing and saying sorry over and over,
It actually makes people less confident in you.
exactly. A good professional apology in English is acknowledge, explain briefly if relevant, and focus on the solution.
So instead of, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I can't believe I did that. I'm so embarrassed. I should have been more careful. I'm really sorry, which is a lot.
Which is so relatable, though.
So relatable. Instead, you say, I apologize for that. I'll make sure to double check before sending next time. In the meantime, here's what I can do to fix it.
Clean, calm, solution-focused. And that phrase, double check. To double check means to verify something a second time to make sure it's correct. I'll double check before I send.
And in the meantime, that means while something else is happening or while we wait. In the meantime, here's the updated version.
Both great phrases, very common in professional communication.
Okay, I think we've covered so much today. Let's do a quick recap because we have packed this episode.
Yeah, we really have. All right, so for meetings, use phrases like, can I jump in here? And I just want to add something to that, to enter conversations naturally.
For giving feedback, try the sandwich method. Positive, critical, constructive. And use I'm wondering about or I'm a little concerned about to raise issues diplomatically.
For talking to your boss, frame things around quality and priorities. I want to make sure I can deliver high-quality work. Is your friend. And can we align on priorities? Align, great work word.
For conflict, I see where you're coming from is the ultimate de-escalation phrase. And ask questions before making statements. Can I share my perspective?
In emails, open with purpose. Keep it clear and concise. And use polite request phrases like, could you please, and would you be able to?
And for follow-ups, I wanted to check if you had a chance to look at this.
And for small talk, respond, then bounce the question back. Show genuine interest. And exit gracefully with, I should let you get back to it.
And if you make a mistake, acknowledge, brief explanation, solution. Don't over-apologize. Stay calm, stay professional.
You've got this.
You really do. And I want to say something to everyone listening right now because I feel this deeply. Speaking English at work is hard. It's vulnerable. You're trying to communicate your intelligence and your value in a language that maybe doesn't come completely naturally to you yet. And that takes courage, real courage.
It really does. And the fact that you're here, listening, learning, practicing, that already puts you ahead. That's the proactive approach we talked about.
Yes. See, it's already coming back around.
Full circle.
And remember, every time you speak up in a meeting, every time you send that email, every time you try a new phrase instead of staying silent, that's growth. That counts.
Absolutely.
Now, quick final question for you in the comments. We mentioned a lot of situations today: meetings, boss conversations, conflict, emails, small talk, mistakes. Which one is your biggest challenge right now? Drop it in the comments. We want to know. And if there's a specific situation at work where you didn't know what to say in English, tell us about it. We might turn it into a future episode.
We love turning your real situations into scripts.
Because that's what this show is about. Real English, real conversations, real life.
And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't. Hit that button, turn on the notification bell so you never miss an episode.
And share this one. If you have a friend who's learning English for work, send it to them, genuinely. It could help someone more than you know.
All right, that's us for today.
Thank you so much for being here with us. We will see you in the next one. Until then, keep speaking, keep learning, and keep showing up.
Take care, everyone.
Bye.